All right, guys, welcome to another Family Function podcast. The Three Musketeers, we're here back at it again. And this week, we're here to talk about Floyd Mayweather and his financial situation. Allegedly, right? So we're gonna
because they ain't broke.
right.
Then
Don't
he's
fix
gonna be
it.
suing us.
That's right. So we just want to talk about basically a surging topic of is Floyd Mayweather really broke, right? Or is this like a publicity stunt? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to basically talk about his current situation right now. So as of April 2025, there is no credible evidence to suggest that Floyd Mayweather is bankrupt. Reports estimate his net worth to be between 450 million and 500 million, with a career earning exceeding 1.1 billion. So, on the contrary, Mayweather continues to engage in substantial business ventures. Late in his in 2024, he acquired over 60 buildings in upper Manhattan, right? That's crazy. For 402 million, contributing to a 10 billion real estate portfolio. That is amazing, guys.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's what, I saw that. I'm like, how's this guy even broke?
And not only that too, there's reports that he is reportedly preparing a 700 million bid to purchase a 10% stake in the NFL and the NFL team, the New York Giants. So aside from that, we all know Floyd Mayweather liked to promote his lifestyle. His watches, his cars, his boats, and everything like that, right? So I just want to ask you guys basically, because I want to cover several things. I want to cover the final aspect of his life, his spending habits, and all these things, right? And also we're going to the real estate dealings that he's involved with. So I just basically want to go into it, right? Floyd Mayweather, he has reported earned over 1 billion in his career. Where has that money gone? If they're saying he's bankrupt.
So something like that, I don't think that's true. That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally saw that video probably around last year or this year where it's I think he was standing in front of one of the buildings he just bought.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's I don't know, that's weird to me. You're not that rich, and you don't have a financial advisors, people that really know money that's just gonna let you blow like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you even blow that kind of money?
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Cause someone as big as that, there's no way you can be bankrupt, especially too if you have a team. There's gonna be someone that's managing your money and how much you're spending and stuff like that, right? And on top of that too, the only way I could truly think if he went bankrupt is he's buying millions on goddamn cars, or he's buying big mansions or something like that, or he's doing some. I heard apparently he might be doing some scamming thing with NFTs. With that, I heard that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's
I don't know if that's true though.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He makes money off of that, but then how is he losing money unless he did a really bad business deal?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
So could it be his luxury lifestyle? Because it's reporting that he has multiple jets, right? And that he flies, globally, right? And he has boats. So basically, any little thing, that's on the menu. He doesn't want anything off the menu. You want everything on the menu. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
That fits the lifestyle.
That makes
luxury
sense.
lifestyle, right?
But I don't know. I try to think super rich people. What is his net worth? Then would be a 500 mil. Let's say, for example, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why would you need multiple jets? You just need one jet.
Right.
Well,
they're reporting that one jet is for his team, bodyguards, stuff.
Get a bigger plane. Get a bigger plane.
Right. Which
what? You don't go buy 4 planes.
Hey man, this jet for you, man.
Yeah.
What?
This jet for my dog.
This jet for my dog. This jet for my mom.
Right. It's very right. Financially, from
Yo,
it doesn't seem feasible.
Okay, now you said that, maybe I'm like, okay, maybe he is broke, because I'm like, what idiot goes and buys multiple jets?
Yeah.
I can't even, I'm trying to think of the most like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Like,
I mean,
they're not gonna have. Maybe they do. Okay, fine, because they're billions of dollars, sure.
Yeah.
But if I'm $500 million, I'm not having multiple jets.
I mean, the only person that I know that I dislike that, which I don't know how like rich like T-Pain is. But remember how when T-Pain went bankrupt back then because like he was buying like bare mansions and cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why like a lot of these like people just like once they get big and they're rich, they just spend on the most like stupid stuff.
Because it seems like he's a guy. He's a very prideful guy. And it's all about status for him. You know what I mean? So right now, it's estimated that he's 1.1 billion is over his career. That's what his earning is. So do you think like, all these, jets, cars, and including watches too, right? Do you think it's bad investment? Because it's kind of like an investment, the watches and stuff like that. Or are these liabilities?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Me personally, I'll say.
Are these like assets that you think?
I mean, me personally, I'll say yes and no. Like, there's nothing wrong with like spoiling yourself. Like once in a while, you can get yourself a nice little watch, a nice little car, whatsoever, right? But then it's like if that's all you're gonna put your money towards, and not also like put money to different opportunities and different doors and stuff, especially to your family, then like I feel like it's kind of useless. Because like, bro, Floyd Mayweather, he's one of like the biggest like fighters, right? Like besides,
if
from
not
like
the
Mike,
biggest,
that's it. Besides like Mike Tyson, and all that, right?
Yeah,
it's like he retired now, but of course there's gonna be so much opportunity that he can open and invest his money into that, right? Not 3 jets or 5,000 jets that he has or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like that stuff is stupid. But it's like that's the thing. Like watches, sure. Like if they're like the Rolexes, the resale value, like it's good. Like they hold their value, right?
Yeah.
Cars, not so much. Like unless it's like a very like limited edition car. Yeah. Obviously,
and he does have a lot.
Yeah. So
he has a lot.
But it's stupid to me in like certain circumstances. Like spoil yourself, but like why do that sort of thing? And I don't know if it's because his mindset for him is like, because like here's the thing, when I look at artists like T-Pain or any musician, right? Yeah. For them, money is hard to come by. Yeah. Because like if you're not popping, you're not popping, right?
Sure,
yeah.
And unless you're someone like a Drake or like a Kendrick, where it's like you're gonna sell, but they don't get paid like you are like an athlete or like a boxer, right? Yeah. Like if Floyd really wanted to, especially he can just go and do one of those like stupid fights he did with the Paul brothers.
Yeah.
And you're making like a shit ton of money in those moments, right?
Right.
So I don't know if that's kind of mindset. He's like, I can go make this whenever I want, but it's just dumb to me. Like if I was him, I'm gonna go invest in I'm gonna go buy a piece of Rumble. Like I want to go buy the platforms that like.
Yeah, I felt like why does he now invest into what's it called, Dazn? The part that does like the boxing.
No, exactly, right. So I would be the person now. I'm like, yo, because now boxing and all this fighting sports now,
exactly.
Everyone's like, yo, you can go make your more money than going the traditional route as a boxer or UFC fighter. So I would go get a piece of that pie. Yeah. And I'm gonna go invest in that because that's where the money is right now. So that's what I would do.
So and that's good. I want to get more into that too. But my next question would be: do you guys, most of over his career, most of his earnings, do you think that mostly came from boxing or outside of boxing?
Oh, but mostly boxing. Because think about boxing is what made who he is now, right? Like boxing was his career. Yeah. So majority of his income is definitely from boxing, his boxing days, right? But of course, that he retired, he still has a different career and different stuff that he has. So of course, it's both. Yeah. For boxing outside of boxing.
Right. Yeah, especially the pay-per-view stuff, right? I'm sure that's what makes a lot of money in those sort of situations like that. And then even understanding it too, if he really wanted to, he can probably waste all of his money, and then look at Mike Tyson, look at his age and go fight Jake Paul, and then go cut a fat check. You can be that old and be I'm gonna go do this, and people are gonna go and watch it, and we didn't have to watch it necessarily, pay for it because it was on Netflix for that, right? Yeah. But like, yo, these companies will cut checks for that because they're gonna get a lot of eyes on that, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but I mean, like, I don't know if it's investment stuff because like the NFT stuff, like how much is that gonna hit? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's not really gonna do too
And
much.
they're saying like it's almost was like a scam, you know.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean,
making
yeah,
a lot of
well,
celebrities now.
majority,
Yeah,
of,
scam.
majority of NFTs now are usually scams.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, you think about it, you know, back in the day, back in the, you know, the 90s and all that stuff, you know, watching boxing, you know, there was a big market for boxing.
yeah,
It was a huge market.
yeah,
And he had some great fights,
yeah.
you know, throughout his career, you know, and, you know, I think he's one of the highest paid athlete when we're talking about like per fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy just in one night, this guy is raking in by the millions, you know what I mean, millions and millions of dollars. So you know, and to maintain, you know, a undefeated record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something really, really great. You know what I mean? Not for his legacy, but also financially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, when we talk about like, you know, I think yes, I would say 90% of his earning, you know what I mean, came from boxing. He's a very, you know, I mean, I used to listen to this guy, just motivation, you know what I mean? Back then when he, you know, is training and, you know what I mean, like this guy was one of those guys that just put in the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta give credit where
Yeah,
credit's
flowers,
due. You know,
yeah,
he put in the work.
Yeah.
No, for
You know what I mean? And to know from his bio and his background, to know where he came from, and you know what I mean, that was a motivation for him. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And he stated that, you know, he did not want to go back to that lifestyle, and boxing was a way out for him. So you know, yes, I believe he made a lot of his earnings from boxing. You know what I mean? Maybe one or two outside investment, but I don't think he was really focused on that. Because of his, you know, his career in boxing, but you know what I mean. It's pretty interesting. You know what I mean. Pretty interesting career, I believe. Question like this guy has generational wealth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So it would be really pretty stupid to really like blow all that money. You know what I mean.
Insanely.
Insanely he hasn't even reached all the generation yet. You know what I mean?
And even if he owns, here's the other thing too. Like if you're a rich person, because like when people are like, yo, you're rich and you have like this big mansion, and it's like costs like $100 million. People don't understand. It's like if that person goes broke, their house is extremely hard to sell.
Oh, they're cooked.
Yeah.
Because then, like, even same thing with Michael Jordan, right? Remember, Michael Jordan tried to sell his house.
Yeah.
And it took him like it took almost like over a decade to sell it because
You know
like
what that Austin reminds you of? The Austin what's it called, the East family? The East family. You know what? Austin McBroom, how like he went bankrupt because they bought a mansion and there's like a second mansion beside their house, right? And nobody was living in it, right? So what he decides to do is he merges both of the mansions into one to a big mansion, right?
Oh yeah,
to the
yeah.
point and made them bankrupt. And he tried to sell it, and nobody wanted it.
Yeah, like who
So
wants
it's
that?
like, why would you do that?
The
Like,
people to sell it to is like slim, and then it's like usually you want it in your own kind of like taste, right? So it's like if I have to buy this, I have to pay like $40 million. I'm gonna spend like another $50 million to renovate.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy this. I'm not just
So
build my
much
own,
bread, like,
build my own place at that point, right?
But it's like, where did these guys get the advice from? You know what I mean? Like,
once you
wouldn't somebody say like, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing that, you would think like, okay, this will be his home. You know what I mean? Like this is my home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, like, if it's not really a home that you really like, you gotta have a projection. You know what I mean? Are you trying to build family? You know what I mean? Is this home gonna be handed down? Like, you gotta have a projection of what's going on. If you're gonna merge, you know what I mean, two properties like that into one.
Yeah.
You know, because now it's like you're caught. You know what I mean?
It's egoistic, honestly. I feel like it's just egoistic. Like, they just want to do it to show like they have it. You know what I'm saying? Because like even to a lot of like these like artists, YouTubers, whatever that like spend so much and also like merge like mansions into one.
Yeah.
It's usually just like dumb and they're growing like probably 2 kids. I don't understand like the whole thing, especially going back to like the whole Austin McBroom thing, right?
Yeah.
It's literally just him, his girl, and like I think like 3 of his kids. And like a whole, I think it was like an 8-house mansion, like not 8-room mansion. Which I'm like, okay, if we're gonna have a whole 8 room
That's the
mansion,
combined. What was it combined?
yes, it's a big. They have so much room in the house. So I'm like,
Never
okay,
understand that.
if you're gonna do that, right? The only thing that truly makes sense to me is like, okay, you're gonna move your family and your girl's family into that house, maybe.
Right, you know what I mean?
Then that makes sense, or your team.
Right.
But the fact is just you and your girl and like 3 kids.
Right. May as well turn it's a home/business.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
That's what I would do.
may as well you run an operation out of that.
That's also what I would do.
Like go run a ghost kitchen out of the other mansion.
Right, you know what I mean? May as well, you create more content out of,
what I would have done.
Is there such thing as financial literacy, man? Because it's like, hearing the story that you're talking about and looking at Floyd Mayweather financial situation here, is there like a financial literacy? Because it's like, do these, he apparently doesn't have an accountant. He's his own accountant. He oversees his own, you know what I mean? Yeah, he oversees, he manages his own money.
He doesn't have an accountant.
Right, because I guess he doesn't trust. You know what I mean?
He's going to jail.
But that's the thing.
This guy probably 100% he owes taxes.
So
he owes taxes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing we haven't talked about, right? You know what I mean? When it comes to tax, filing your tax, all these things, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you think this guy's filing his own taxes?
So I get it. Like, you may not trust anybody to handle that amount of money. That's a lot of money. But I mean, still, man, you got a team. You got, like, how do you?
But he's not going to say anything though.
I think he just said that to feel like, you know what I mean, he's in control. But he has to have.
You're going to jail. There's no way he's not locked up right now.
Someone that's magic.
If I worked at IRS and I watch an interview and I see Floyd Mayweather just say like, I don't have an accountant, I'm going to the office the next day and I'm opening investigation against him. Yeah. I'll see that on my art bet. I'm gonna look into that. Yeah. There's no way. Guaranteed. Even if maybe let's say he has a accountant. His friends are probably if it is true what is happening, it's definitely his friends. It's a typical story where it's like they're not gonna say anything because if you say something, the money dries up for you.
Right.
You don't get to spend as much money as you know what I mean. Yeah. So they're like they don't really care. They're like, I'm gonna get my piece. I'm gonna get my piece of it and then do my thing. And then once it drains, I'm gone. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah.
There's no way. This guy's not.
That's crazy.
There's a part of me that actually does believe he doesn't have an accountant.
I mean,
if you have an allegation of you apparently dropping 402 million, come on, there has to be something.
Because if you have an accountant, like the countless time I've seen this man, you know what I mean, promote how much money he has, cash, just, you know what I mean, constant, just how much cash I have on the table, the stack of cash. I'm going to a fight. I'm going out tonight. You know what I mean? He has a team of people carrying bags of
and no wrong.
And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like it's good for promotion, right? If you're promoted. You know what I mean?
I guess, but not really.
But like when we get to the real nitty gritty, when we talk about how much is man paying tax, you know what I mean? What his portfolio looks like, then we really start to see, like, you know what I mean? It may not be as hyped up as it really is.
And I don't think it's real then. Like I'm just thinking, like, why is no one out robbing him yet?
That's what I'm saying. Because
if you were walking around and all that nonsense like that,
well, I'm robbing.
I don't care for Floyd Mayweather.
I mean, he always have a lot of people, a big team around him, right? So
and that's not stopping.
I'm getting a bigger team. Like, you know what I mean? If he's walking around with that kind of stuff on there, I'm gonna get 50 guys, armored trucks, and we'll pull it up. I don't care for Floyd Mayweather. Like, was Floyd Mayweather? I don't care.
Turn that to money heist, man. Like, what?
Fist versus guns. What is guns? What are they gonna do?
Turn to money heist. We're getting the.
That's this like funny meme where it's like all these different martial arts styles.
Yeah.
And it's just this one guy with a gun is like, it means nothing if I have a gun. You know what I mean? But like, come on, like, there's no way you're moving that stupid. So it has to be fake. Like, right. Like it's just fake stuff in there and just pretending a show. But also, it's just so dumb to me that like you have to do that and you're Floyd Mayweather. Like, why do you need to do that?
That's true.
Who are you trying to impress?
That's true.
I know, you're already accomplished. Yeah. You accomplished, like, you know what I mean?
You think it's impressive?
Mount Rushmore, you know what I mean? Boxing.
Yeah. The only person you're impressing with that's like these like young kids.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Nobody's an adult like.
But not even the new generation, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not even the new generation. They're gonna be like, yo, they're not gonna.
Yeah, because like half these.
They're gonna be on a new wave.
Yeah, because half these kids don't even know who he is or really care like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's gonna be on a new wave.
Who are you really trying to impress?
Like, who's on? Doing over here. Especially these young kids too nowadays. These young kids are fearless.
They are, bro.
So they're gonna.
They are.
If you truly believe like he has money on him like that, Some kids are gonna try him.
And I didn't. That was one of my thoughts when every time I would see him promote money, just straight out cash, you know,
which is bad.
Just carrying around. I'm like, bro, you're telling me this guy doesn't like, he's not aware of like where he's at. He doesn't care.
It's
like,
pretty bad.
That, you know what I mean?
It's pretty bad too, because like if you're gonna be flexing money like that too, I feel like there's gonna be definitely somebody on your team that might backstab you, since they know like how like
or set you up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
take your money.
Because
it's a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Maybe he doesn't trust
like,
anybody.
if I'm walking out with a whole like double duffel bags with bread in it, I know for a fact someone on my team is gonna stand my back.
Because I'm like, yo, this is Floyd, man. Like this guy, he doesn't not count. He's not gonna check every money. So let me take a 50 grand at least, bro. Yeah, that's nothing. You know what I mean? Just tell me he gave that in tip, bro. Because
put on my shirt or something.
Right? You know? Like, oh, he's like, oh, where'd it go? I did for charity. Like, I
those a whole bag or something.
It's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
I was even thinking too. I'm like, yo, dude. Do people even kidnap rich people anymore?
You know those movies where they used to kidnap the daughter or the son of the rich family,
the home for like ransom,
and hold on ransom.
No one does that anymore.
You don't see that.
Like, that's like a dead art, you know?
Right? You know what I mean? It makes you wonder. Was that, you know? Is this even possible? You know?
I don't know if it's because like there's like police just like maybe it's because police just find you so quickly now. You just, you know, like you can't do anything nowadays without police just finding you. I see videos of like police solving crimes, and like they're from like the 60s.
What?
So they're, I was on YouTube. I was like, what? And like they're just pulling. It's like some 9-year-old man like arresting him.
That's crazy. I definitely know there's a lot of like cases that are still open right now, like from back then.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy to me too, because I'm like, because even too like with the like for example like the whole Biggie situation. Like they're still finding more details and stuff on the story, which I'm like, how are you still finding more stuff about it now?
Yeah,
I know, right?
Like it's crazy to me.
Imagine like you have like an actual emergency. Like imagine your kid's missing, and then like but then not everybody's on it because there's a few officers working on the Biggie case.
Yeah.
He's dead. Like there's nothing. Let it go. You know, like we could probably agree. It was probably Diddy. All right, he's in jail already. Like you fighting is not gonna do anything. I'm sure his mom. Did his mom just pass away too?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I didn't even know that.
I'm like, my goodness, man. I feel like if you're a certain age and caught with a crime, you just gotta let it go. If I'm like 85 and I robbed a bank like 50 years ago, just it's too late.
You think so? You think there should be a timestamp on?
Depends what the crime is.
Yeah, it depends. Like if I robbed a bank in like 90-something and we're in 2000, like all right, like come on, like
okay, all these SA allegations, right?
Yeah.
That usually you hear in against a famous celebrity or artist or something like that. If it's like 10, 15 years ago.
No, still get them gone. Still get them gone. No.
Yeah, if it's proven, if this evidence is proven,
still get them gone. No, you don't close that. Still get them gone.
Let's say the crime.
It depends on the crime. Like, okay.
If it's a victimless crime, then
if it's like something like like a SA or I guess like a murder or something, like don't close that.
Yeah.
But if it's like, okay, this person robbed a gas station or a bank or something like that, like I guess like you can close it, but like at least like still like I guess like charge them for something or like something like that. But like if you're still trying to investigate that and it's like so long ago, it's like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Especially when like there's so much more important like cases that are happening right now that you should be focusing on right now.
But the funny thing is, like, you know what I mean? A lot of these cases, you know what I mean, are not actually solved by a detective to some extent. It's mostly solved by witnesses. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anonymous, tips. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these cases are solved because of a community of people or somebody, you know what I mean? That just call in and you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Crime Stoppers help me, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like the movie, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the movie where all the action is done and done.
Like Halloween.
It's like, you know what I mean? A lot of these crimes are solved by, you know what I mean, the community. And I have this wild idea. It's like, what if like they created like one day, they create all these crazy things like Uber, Instacart, all this. What if like they have a thing where people can just like make a ton of money by solving crimes?
They kind of do have something.
I know.
As opposed to like, you know what I mean? We put out a 10 million. You know what I mean?
No,
like
they actually do have something like that. 'Cause I remember there's I remember I heard something where like these people call themselves like the.
But it's like live. Like anything happen, you can
I don't know
trace what it happened, like where it's at.
I don't.
And there's like live information coming out. Like there's a robbery happened, you know what I mean?
Oh,
such
yeah.
and
Yeah,
such
I don't-
location.
yeah, I don't know about-
Suspect is and heading, you know what I mean? No description, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
get
yeah.
it live on your phone, and if
Yeah.
you see it, you know what I mean, and you can get a, you know,
That'll be
report,
kinda
like
scary.
maybe like a photo or something.
be kinda
you get,
scary,
you know what I mean?
I'll
Like
be
you get
down
an
for that.
incentive for that.
I'll
You
be
know what I'm
down for
saying?
That would be
Bro,
that'd be
like-
sick, but that'd be kind of scary. Cause I feel like
Because,
like,
yo, there won't be no crime, bro.
That'd be sick, but I kind of feel like it's like the purge, bro. Like imagine one day,
Yeah.
like imagine,
Bro, man, you skipped
like,
around.
like that feels like a movie scene. Like imagine one day you're just chilling at a restaurant, you open your phone, new crime downtown. All right, guys, watch that.
You have to
Suit up.
You know, you have your video, everything recorded. You know what I
You know what
mean?
I'm saying? You just suit up. All right,
it's,
let's
it's
go.
like Instacart for crime.
Literally.
And then and there's a bid. You know,
Yeah.
it increased. Like, you know what I mean? It increased. Like it goes.
Yeah,
up
like
and
the
up,
longest
you know?
unsolved.
Right.
Yeah. No,
But-
that's a good
That
idea.
would be
Yeah,
sick.
you know what I
That'd
mean?
be kind of like John Wick. You know how like there's like bare bounties on John Wick
Yeah.
and like they get like information on him. It can't be like that. That'd be
Because you
sick.
think about it, you know what I mean? A lot of these crimes are solved by people anyways,
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true, yeah.
Calling in, giving tips,
There's
you
like
know,
a search party and
anonymous
stuff like
tips
that.
and
That would be
whatever.
kinda sick.
So now you have like a live system, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it protects your privacy,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
That would
Like,
be tough.
you know, like if it's it could be a crime too if you
Yeah.
hack somebody, you know what I mean? But it's like,
If you have to also get trained though, you have to get trained.
but
Yeah.
that's the thing, you know what I mean?
I feel
But this
like-
is why I think the government will come in. The government will come in
No, I
and,
feel
and
like
license it.
yeah, license it.
Yeah.
You have to have a
The
license.
government-
Because imagine,
You know what I
like,
mean?
imagine it's like one crime and you're trying to go collect evidence, and like 3 people show up and start fighting you over the evidence.
I know.
Everybody-
Yeah. You know, because you know, it has to be realistic and it has to be certain boundaries, right?
Mhm.
But
Because some people will go over above and beyond and do some crazy stuff.
No, for real.
But in a way, we kind of technically have something like that though, because like.
But it's not like
because like if you really think about it, like. Amber Alert is kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
don't
all
get anything, we'll find the kid.
We hear about some kid missing, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Some people might go out and try to look for it, but like, I'll be honest, like, not people will look out like that. Like,
Yo, honestly, like, I look at some Amber Alerts and it's just like, oh, the kid's dad took the kid.
yeah, that's what
I don't care.
Yeah,
that's crazy, bro.
It's not crazy though. If it's the dad,
Crazy, bro.
if the parent that took the kid, no. If it's the parent that took the kid, I don't care.
I do not condone this, okay?
I feel like
I'm not saying woke me up for it. Like I'm sleeping as an Amber Alert. It's like
You know when people are complaining like, bro, like I gotta go to work and now.
No, I'm not gonna lie, and you'll be annoyed sometimes. Cause I'm not gonna lie, sometimes like you be sleeping, you be having a nice sleep, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Amber Alert. I'm like,
This is what I'm
right
saying.
now?
This is what I'm saying. If there was such a system, right? And then they're like, okay, there's like it's up to like $10,000 and increasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A girl's missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it-
Get out.
Bro, you're not gonna complain and
getting
say,
out.
yo, you know what I mean? This
I'm
thing's
getting up
bugging.
to get in my car.
You know nobody's out there. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying?
think about it though.
And there's like a list. There's like 100 cases.
It would be a good.
All money,
It would be a good idea, but then again, at the same time too, everyone's gonna do it. And then think about it too. It'll be bad for different companies now. Because then think about it. If you could just instantly make free bread for just being like a superhero. Yo, I'm quitting my 9 to 5 job. Like
No,
what?
for real,
Like
though.
what? If one day I could actually be Batman, I'm quitting working at McDonald's or something. Like,
Sorry,
what?
guys. We went from Floyd Mayweather to.
no, this is happening.
But
This
it's
needs to be
like,
had though.
what?
But it also bring down crime though. Imagine,
But that's what I'm saying.
Imagine,
You
imagine
start,
you're
you
like,
start
you
your
commit a
start
crime.
the whole Justice League at that
Right,
point.
right.
Imagine
But here's the question though: does it pose a threat to law enforcement?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
Yeah,
Cops will take
not
it
doing
over.
anything.
But it-
Imagine all this nonsense
Yo, they probably
downtown.
quit their own job.
Yo,
to join.
watch how easy downtown will be cleaned up.
Oh man, the
No,
whole
I'm
city will
gone.
be
Yeah.
cleaned up.
You-
You'd
you
be
will-
scared to steal a candy, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
You still can't some guys
You see those
box in your face.
You see those movies on TikTok where like you like Batman, like the
Yeah.
someone like litter and the Batman on door be like, you just litter. It'll be
Yeah.
something like that, bro.
No, for real, but it'll solve so many
Yo,
things.
I think crime will be so
It'll be crazy,
down
bro.
so
Yeah.
bad. It would be crazy. You wouldn't be like, yo, is there even crime? Does that even exist? Is that even
No,
possible?
for real. That's even like same thing with like construction, right?
Yeah.
You know the freaking stupid construction all over Ontario. That's why even the LRT. I remember I saw a TikTok someone talking about the LRT and it's delayed again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And some guy commented, he's like, just give all of us a shovel and then we'll go finish it this weekend. But for real though,
No, that's what I'm saying.
just pay us.
It sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but I promise you, if you
A
can
lot of people
monitor
do
it,
that.
if you can monitor that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people will do it.
If the government's just like,
Be
guys,
realistic.
this project's delayed, we're offering this much for anyone come down. Watch how many people come down there and we'll get this thing done in a day.
Man, I'm telling you, And it's not a bad idea. It can be done.
No.
If you monetize it, it can be done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With technology, you're telling me with technology right now and how advanced we are right now, you're telling me these things are not possible? Of course they're possible, but maybe they don't want this to happen too, right?
Yeah. I mean, like,
because you know what I mean. If there's no crime,
I feel like if you're gonna try to do it, then like you have to get in touch with the government, law enforcement, like all that.
Oh, they're gonna want to be involved in
it.
And
I feel like it's gonna be too much work to do all that.
But also, I think
but if you have a system, if you have a database that oversees everything, you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
that's where
maybe
you know what I mean. Like
that's one thing. Yeah, if you're right. Like if you do like a license, like you have to get licensed, and you can't use any lethal stuff. So only police officers can use.
You can only report.
You can only report. Report.
You know what I mean?
So you
first account eyewitness. If you're a first account eyewitness, you know what I mean. Like if you can get maybe like a description of, you know what I mean.
I'm not doing that then. What?
No, but I mean like
if I see, you just want to put a hands up.
Yes. What? I want to be like that then. What? Beat up first. Ask questions later.
You even Batman is stupid, bro.
Yeah, but would you ignore the kind of money you can make from that though?
Okay, absolutely not. But like, think about it. If I see the person right there and I know I can stop them, I'm gonna stop them instead of calling the cops. Because
but what if there's a bug? What if like the most wanted, right?
Yeah.
Like in Canada, like you know what I mean, like that most wanted, and they said, okay, you know, this guy's the number one most wanted person out there, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the right now the reward is like over $1 million, bro. You know what I mean? People are gonna be, and there's like you have like from 1 to like maybe 50 wanted people.
Yeah,
that's big. That's crazy business. That would be cleaned up real quick.
That's true.
You're not getting anywhere. I'm telling you right now.
Yo, they're not going nowhere, bro. You won't even want to come out your house.
I see you.
You don't even want the sunlight come in your house, bro. You be like, you think it's a drone or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Start barricading your whole house like Rainbow Six.
Bro, like I'm going,
because people are snitching, bro.
I'm going through this guy's window with night vision goggles on, all black. Yo,
this guy thinks he's placed with himself, bro.
I'm going in for $1 million for catching one guy.
Oh my,
bro!
I'm telling you, man.
I would just quit my job. That would be my full damn day.
That's what I'm saying.
You're basically just being bounty hunter at that point.
And it's almost like something like like social media. You can actually talk about it. You know what I mean? Investigate it. You know
let's be honest.
And then you have that side of it too. You know what I mean?
Let's be honest.
Building followers too.
If it did truly happen, I already know for a fact people are lashing down Kick or Rumble, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
Yeah.
People are gonna be lashing me on Rumble or Kick, bro. And we'll come back today. We're gonna go investigate this person.
That's basically like the pedophile stuff. That's basically what the
you know what that would clean up? That would clean that up right away, man.
But the problem, see, that's what it's a good idea to get a license, all right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these pedophile stuff, like when they call the police, they end up like they can't end up like
actually arresting them because they don't have the license.
Yeah, because well, not really got the license, but they just didn't follow like the proper steps, like enough to convict this person. Some of these is dumb because like very clearly, but it's like. Some of these ones just like, oh man, you guys messed this up. It's entertaining, but you're not doing the proper steps, right?
Yeah.
So if you get a license though,
it's almost like creating like civil bounties. You know, like you being a bounty, I'm being a bounty. You being we're licensed, we're trained. We know there's certain things that we can lose our license. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
But you like the amount of benefits and reward from this. You know, it's worth it because like you're constantly just like making sure like. Yo, my community better be on point. You know what I mean? Yo, you better not play around because this money's for real out here. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like if this was to happen, people are going to.
But this would be like a future thing because you definitely see more cops around.
It has to. Someone definitely has to make this happen.
And it's going in that direction anyways because with all the technology, with with the robots we're seeing, you know what I'm saying, like becoming more intelligent. You know what I'm saying? It's going in that direction anyways. You know?
And you know another thing too is like if you also, because then you're also like, oh, what if someone just like falsely accuses someone, or just sending random like tips is not really.
What do you have a team of lawyers, civilians that can actually investigate? You know what I mean?
No, but not only that though. But it's like every time you mess up, like you feel false accused, like if you mess up doing that, it's like you get your thing revoked. So you have to make sure you have to be accurate. So you have to be accurate.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? All these different steps, right?
Kind of like a decimal point or something like that, right? Like every time you mess up, all right, point off, and then you lose your license. That'd be smart.
Exactly.
You know how many people will be involved in that? You know what I mean? Like every time there's a crime, people want to know. You know what I mean? Where was the cameras? You know what I mean? like what route did they take?
Yeah,
Like people would be like trying to like put in clips to form actually a story, like a picture.
People like
paint a picture,
like,
you know what I mean?
Pull the evidence.
Who was
cameras?
male, female? What was the you know what I mean? Bro, they'll be involved in the stuff.
There's
man.
actually something
It'd be like a real career.
There's actually something kind of like this too. Cause I know like there's something called I know there's people that kind of like go out and like actually go get like do like crimes, and they call themselves like the Justice League. And they actually, I don't know why, but they actually dress up in like some like superhero like outfits or whatever.
Yeah.
And they actually go and look out for people too. So it's kind of crazy how like
No,
something like
the,
that actually
the
happened.
Brampton Batman.
Oh yeah.
What happened to him? You know what's funny? I know Steve over.
I think he's
He's
still
from Brampton?
I don't know. I think he's still. I think I follow him on Facebook.
Yeah,
but,
I
like,
still see him in
I
Brampton
think he still
sometimes.
posts stuff from time to time.
Yeah, but I think
But this guy was so committed. You know what's a funny thought me and my friends had in high school?
What?
We were like, you know what we should do?
Dress up as Joker or something.
Yeah, we're dressed up as like the villains and stuff of Batman, and try to like and then steal the Batmobile from him.
That's
his car.
crazy.
We're like watch this guy actually knows martial arts and he just like whoops all of us.
One of y'all should have been the Riddler, bro. Give us a riddle.
Yeah, that's what we said. We talked about each other like, yo, this person would be Bane.
Yeah.
One person would be Mr. Freeze. One person would be Joker.
Penguin. Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. So.
I was even had a friend. Remember my friend Slade? As I said, I'm like perfect. Slade's real name in the comic, Deathstroke.
Oh,
yeah, because that's actually the comic.
That'd be funny.
I'm like, yo, let's go do this. But I'm like, wait, this guy might actually know how to fight.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's 3 against 1 though. Like what? This guy's got actual gadgets.
Bro, you never know, bro.
This guy's just trying.
You never know
This guy just throws you guys like smoke.
This guy's crazy enough to take his car and turn it into a Batmobile, and he dressed up as Batman for a good on decade. Who knows what this guy has or is willing to do?
Think about that though.
That's crazy.
Since we have like a Batman, do you think like I don't know like Toronto will have like a Spider-Man or some next thing like one place might have like Adventures or something? Do you think that will happen?
Jesus Christ, I hope not.
That'd be kind of funny.
Every time they fight, it's like just pure property damage.
Yeah.
That's what I hate, man.
So I mean, to close out on this, you know what I mean?
Sort of Floyd Mayweather.
I know. It's like, what's next? You know what I mean? Is there? Are we coming out with another thing to even track government to, where vote for themselves instead of these politicians now who's claiming that. You know what I mean? They're for the people, by the people.
And a citizen militia.
Yeah, you know.
All I'm gonna say in the future, if this happens, we started first. We got the idea first, okay? So you guys gotta give us
Put
credit.
it out there.
You gotta give us credit.
So if you're a tech guy or you're
give us
you're
credit.
big on,
Give us credit.
Yeah. You know what I mean? The idea is right there.
Literally.
It is possible.
Yeah.
I see it.
Because you need to will be more funny too if it actually does become a thing. Podcasts will kind of be like the news kind of in a way, like how like some podcasters will talk about like actual crimes.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Imagine it'd be like,
and you have a follower, a huge following of people who's actually
that'd be kind of funny.
They're watching. They're like, yo, this happened at this, and you know what I mean. And it's almost, it would almost be like you being a detective, investigation type
in a way,
a detective, because you're piecing. It's like puzzles, you know what I mean, and you're putting the pieces together to paint a picture. You know what I mean? Of like, because it's like a timeline.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have to come with different clips to put on the timeline to paint when the starting of the incident and when it ended. You know what I mean? And you have to paint like a full, because that's what they do in court, right?
Yeah.
When you come with evidence, right? You have the timeline.
I feel like this will low-key turn to a movie, like if this actually did happen, it'll be a sick movie.
It'd be crazy. I think that would solve, and it would solve the world problem.
It's true.
It will solve the world problem.
But in a way, like,
and you created wealth doing it too.
Yeah.
But in a way,
money.
In a way too, though, it could be a good thing and a bad thing too. Because even though even people who do have a license, I feel like some people might either fake license, or even too they get the license, they won't even care, and they might turn to become the villain. You know what I'm saying? So but
you see, this is where you gotta okay, it's against the certain laws. You know what I mean, to know that it's a very serious consequence.
It's true, but for a fact there's gonna be some people that don't care.
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be fraud in anything you do. You know.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be people trying to, get one up on a system, right?
Yeah.
But this is where the government and all these people are good with the future of technology and AI advancing. You know what I mean? Should eliminate that. You know what I mean? Like, so is it realistic? I think it is.
Well, you can just do some countries have like the digital ID, like where it's like on your Apple Pay like wallet or like you can't fake that because there's no way you can add that.
Right. You
so if you have that on your phone,
certain barriers.
So you can't like fake that.
You can't fake it. You know.
So if you need to have that, if you don't, then like you're gone.
Or it can flag you and shut down your. You have no access, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy. And it's how many people be like, yo, I want. What about if we can like be government instead? You know what I mean? Like we can actually do our own voting rather than having. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of government. People, it'll be like crazy for them. But this is like future stuff, man. This is like.
I feel like definitely something that might happen, honestly, especially with the whole robots too. Something like this gonna happen.
I don't mess with robots, man.
But I mean, it can happen because if people continue to, if wages keep going down and, you know what I mean, the cost of living and all this thing and crime is rising, you know what I mean? For sure, this is like, people are going to be like, yo, I don't care right now, we got to do something, you know what I mean?
I know, which is insane. There was even a funny thing I saw too yesterday on the news. I think, which politician was in Canada, they said that they were going to use the charter rights thing in the Canadian Charter Rights, Section 33, which is like, basically they're going to use it so like if someone is convicted of multiple murders, it'll give them multiple life sentences, which and no eligibility of parole. And then people on the news, like the news anchor and people like that, were like shocked that like that was even like an idea. And I'm like,
It's not. Don't they do something like that in the
That's
States?
what States, yeah.
Like a felony, like they.
You get like multiple
felony, charges.
So you can like let's say like I don't know. Let's say you get one of the cases your charge is dismissed. You still have like 4 other like life sentences you still have to like go through, right?
Didn't that happen to a rapper named Tay?
TK.
Didn't
I seen that? I actually seen that today.
Yeah,
so this guy,
80 years.
he got 80 years
First
down.
he was 55.
It was 50. And then literally, I think it was like today or last night, right?
Yeah.
He goes back to court, and then they're
For
like,
a
okay,
separate murder.
They're like, okay, we looked at you, and you were not guilty for this charge, and blah blah. They dropped it, but then they apparently said he was guilty for our next murder or something like that, right? So then they added 80 years onto the guy.
What was his? How much years did he have originally?
I think it was like 50 something.
Yeah, 55. I think I read.
Around like 50 like that.
Yeah. And then he apparently for that, he was under house arrest. Some out on bonds house arrest, and apparently he broke the monitor off, the tracking monitor, and then he went on a run, and while he was on a run, I think committed another murder.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, he made us all to it. He made us all to it.
Yeah,
it's literally one thing to go free, to break free, and it was like, I'm going to commit murder.
Like 3 months later, they caught it, and it's like, you know what I mean? Now they hit him with 80 years, man.
I feel bad for bro, but like he did at the
that
same
man
time.
coming out with crutches, bro.
I feel bad for bro, but he did to himself at the same time. Like,
I was
watching the video.
He's coming out with crutches,
bro.
Bro.
He's in a skeleton. What are you talking about? Crutches? He's not gonna be alive. Bro. I feel like honestly, just do a thing. It's like if you're living multiple life sentences, you just leave the skeleton in the jail cell, and like let that be a reminder to people to not commit crimes. I get multiple life sentences.
It'd be like those scientists, like the size like skeletons that you have to like.
No, for real. Just sitting just so I was like, this guy had like 5 life sentences.
That's crazy.
He's still not done serving it. Like,
I feel bad for him, bro.
Crazy.
Like I seen the video.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I feel bad for him though. Cause I seen the video too. Like bro was crying.
I think they said he got emotional.
He was crying. I
mean, who cares? He killed somebody.
Bro, that would destroy your. Can you imagine the judge reading out the sentence right in front of you, bro?
At that point,
it's like almost like your spirit, your soul just slowly like leaving your body. Even your soul's like, man, bro. I'm not
gonna lie. If that was me and like I was already in jail and they told me like, oh, you're getting more years, execute me, bro. Execute me. Why am I like just what?
Death row?
Yes. Like, why am I still here then? Like, bro, he's like, by the time I'm out. Bro, I'm already like fighting for my life. I'm old. I'm dying.
You can't even cope with the world. You might even see flying ships, bro. Flying cars.
That's crazy.
Imagine you come out of jail. Imagine you come out of jail, whole apocalypse or something like that. Like, bro, at that point, like,
why would you still in jail? There's stuff you locked up. The world's ended, and you're still in jail.
I don't know, bro. You never know, bro. It could be like Fallout, whole nuclear bomb. You never know.
Bro, I'd be so
joking, but his soul must be gone, bro.
I feel bad because even too, like he's locked up. I think YNW Melly's still locked up.
What's his name?
What's going on with these young rappers though, man? Like,
what's the name? He's a colorful hair. He's not black though. He's
6'9"?
Yeah,
He's free now.
He's free now again. I thought he's locked up.
He got free not too long ago. They freed him, I believe. Yeah, they freed him. I think what's his name? I think is it Ellie Chopper or NBA Youngboy? I don't know. One or two. They're free now. I know the only ones that Seb G's free now. The only ones that are locked up still is TK, YNW Melly, who else?
And these are like young artists, no? Like
Yes and no. Like some are like 40, some are like my age.
Do they have like big, huge followings? Because it's like,
Yeah, what Take K, bro? This guy Take K was a famous rapper in like 2016 and stuff. I remember listening to this guy in like high school.
wow.
But not high school, middle school. Like he was popping in middle school, and then he just got locked up. And then Seb G and Sleepy Hollow, they've been locked up, free, Kodak, locked up, free. Like I don't know what's happening. And it's like it's kind of sad too, because it's like talent gone waste. Like
Major talent.
Like you
These
have
are like the next generation.
Like I'm not like especially with Take K. Like
Yeah.
a lot of his fans, even people that are not even fans with him, they're like, yo, he has good talent. He can rap.
Yeah.
Bro's gone now. He's not dropping.
But this is the thing I always struggle with, right, with some of these guys, and this is the thing I hate, because I'm like, yo, you've landed on a blessing. You're a recording artist. You have crazy money. Why are you still?
I know, and you're getting out of a situation.
Yeah,
that
you don't think I get it. I can understand it when you're in it and you have no other choice, right? And that's the lifestyle you're in. Now you can get out of it. You're good now. You don't have to do it anymore. And they're still doing it. Why?
I mean, you could. I heard this one saying, you could take somebody out the trenches, but you can't take the trenches out of them.
Yeah, no facts.
So
Facts.
I don't care. You're taking the stress out of me.
Yeah.
Like this, no, for real though. This ain't a hobby. They act like it's a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
I can't stop shooting. Like, no, go live in a white neighborhood. Like,
I can't stop shooting.
Like that's what act like it's a damn addiction. Like, I gotta kill. I gotta trap. Like, no, go live in a nice white neighborhood.
My thing is like, yo, if you really want to be a shooter like that, you know what I mean? Yo, go join the army. You
Yo,
know what I'm saying?
I'm
Make a career out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like. If you like to beat people up, you know, fight. Don't be a professional fighter.
Don't be in the army, because if you can't help yourself to even not shoot when you have money, and you're gonna be in the army and there's no war conflict going on, who are you shooting then?
Yo, the army will put you in some situation, bro. They're putting you in some situation, bro.
Take everyone.
I guess so then.
Take everyone that's in Chicago, all those people, bro. Put them into the army, bro. Let them
No,
fight.
for real. Don't send them to jail. Yeah.
Fuck the army, bro.
Yo, they should have sent them to like Afghanistan.
Oh my god.
Yo, they would have cleaned that up.
Put them on that SEAL Team 6. You know? And they go to the trainings, bro.
Yeah.
Blow it up. Like, bro, put them into the army.
Yo, you know what I mean? They want something to do.
Really?
To me, it screams boredom. Like, yo, like, you know what I mean? Because if you made it,
like,
and you're making all this money, you have all this fan, and then you go back into, you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, bro. They should have put King Von into the army. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh my god,
They
yeah,
should
the guy's
put
racking
King
up
Von.
bodies, bro.
Bro, if they put King Von into the army, bro, he will be the next Winter Soldier, bro. He ain't dying.
Yo, I like to think sometimes.
Hey.
I feel like this guy like had like some mental health issue where just like his mind thinks he's in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He's in like a team deathmatch. So he's just like, how many
King
bodies
Von
are gonna
has
rack
so much
up?
bodies on it, bro. I'm sorry. Put him into the army.
Is it low-key like a mental situation going on with these guys?
It has to be.
Like, you know what I
No,
mean?
bro.
I just can't imagine like you look at your
because
imagine you look at your bank account, you're like, oh wow, I have a lot of money in here, and then you're like, I'm gonna go shoot up this person.
Or is it just like they got too famous at a young age? Like everything just happened too fast at a young age. Is that
I feel like
what it is?
I feel like that's what it is. Because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of artists that blow up are usually like my age, or like they're like 20 to 30. So I feel like they just blow up too fast. But especially too is like you can blow up and you can get out the trenches, but the trenches won't get out of you. Because even too like for example, right? When you didn't make it, it's hard for you to get drugs, it's hard for you to get guns, all that, yada yada yada, right? But then once you blow up, you have the money to get drugs, and then you have a lot of plugins and this.
Yeah,
this,
you
that,
have
right?
access to
that's
resources.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the reason why, like, okay, now like they're up now, they have research, they have stuff to get all these stuff now, so they're just gonna do it. So then too, like a lot of I don't know, is they're either killing, or there's allegations to the either talking to a minor, or they're doing essay, and I guess it's sad, bro. I don't know.
That's the funny joke I saw one time where it's like this guy is like he's doing a skit with himself, and he's like, He's like, yo, man, you're one of the biggest streamers in the world. And his friend is just like, we finally made it. We're gonna get out the hood and everything like that. Yeah. And his friends, the streamer friend is like sad the whole time. And after he finishes talking, he's like, the streamer friend's like, I love minors. He's like, why? It's like, so you get famous, like,
yo, that's so wrong.
Yeah, but it's true though. It's
on
like,
all levels.
It's true though. It's like, so you get famous,
is though, because like what you have.
That's like a white people thing though.
It is because like what the one biggest streamer that I grew up watching. Like, I didn't grow up watching.
It's like a Kendrick diss.
I didn't grow up watching him, but I remember he was like big. Remember Dr. Disrespect?
Yeah.
Bro was big as hell.
Yeah.
He was big as hell, and then boom. He's out here whispering to a minor on Twitch.
Yeah.
And then what? Do you have some artists like I know there's one artist named Zilla Kami. He apparently has allegations to talking to a little kid. And then like it's just I don't understand.
What?
And then like even a lot of these underground rappers, like I think there's one where I think it was like Cash Dami. He was like he used to be underground. I think there was like he had allegations of him talking to a kid or something like that, this and that. It's like you're an underground rapper. You wanna blow. You wanna make it, or even too you make it. Why like once you make it, you throw it all away for a kid?
That's even crazy. He's doing that. He hasn't even made it yet. You haven't made it. You're doing that, but you're skipping a step. Don't do that.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
And it's like I don't know. I'm honestly starting to peep it. It feels like it's a trend in the music industry now. I don't know why.
Yo, yeah, it's definitely a trend.
I don't know why.
Because if you look at the 2000s, right? The 96, 2000. I mean, there's always been, you know what I mean? People go at each other, you know what I mean? But it was through the music, lyrically or something like that, you know what I mean? Now this other generation, like, they're really like, you know what I mean? They're really popping and, you know what I mean, out in the streets. And the real work is still not being done. You're not in the studio putting in the work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much business venture you can create. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know how smart these guys really are. If they really
no, they don't. That's
put
what
their
I'm
money
saying.
with it. You know
a lot of them they just want to drop a diss. They just want to drop a diss track. Like that's all they want. They want to drop a diss track. Like even too, I remember. I think just
but it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
It is the same thing, but like
why you can't have a new trend, you know what I mean?
It's the same thing, but like at the same time, it's gonna make them get numbers. Like I'm telling you right now, that's what media is. It's just nothing but drama on drama on drama. Like let's be honest. If Joe Biden was an artist, right? Like yeah, he's gonna drop music, yeah. But you think I'm gonna really care to listen to the music? No, I want you to diss somebody. Start drama.
No, for sure. Like I get it. Like you eventually you get to that point. I feel like every rapper you get to a point where you're gonna beef with someone and you're gonna diss, right?
But wait, I don't need to control. But even too, like a lot of them when they actually do the disses. Like there's some artists where it's like, okay, yeah, they'll drop a diss and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But there's some of them that actually get into it to the point where like they'll actually go and shoot them and kill them. Like I know I'm not gonna.
But that's not.
You're right. No, you're right.
There's one artist. I think his name was what Young Ace. I think his name is Young Ace. And then there's another artist. I don't remember his name, but it's Young Ace and someone else, and they're beefing, right? And like they have bare beef. This guy was dissing about him and his friends that passed away. Dissing his family member that passed away, all this, right? And then a few weeks later, he dropped another diss track, and then I think he was having a party. It was his birthday, right? They go and they shot him.
Why? That makes no sense. You know, that's the funny thing though, right? And this was like, you can't, so many rappers make fun of, or people are like, oh, Drake's a softie, and all that stuff like that. But look how far you get being a softie.
Right.
He's a light skin. That's light skin.
But you never know. Like he may look at himself as a you know what I mean, a business mogul. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to do the same old.
Well, same thing with Jay-Z too. That's why it makes sense.
Right.
Because there's a point for him. He's like I'm not gonna interact with some of these guys. He's like cutting off. I've seen people like, oh, we used to know back in the day, but he doesn't talk to me anymore. Why would he? There's no need to, because you guys are still part of that lifestyle. He doesn't want to be part of that. So
and look what he's doing now, you know what I mean? Like, for the NFL, he's like doing, you know what I mean, the Super Bowl thing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's actually trying to do different things. You know what I mean? How much rapper you know what I mean, is affiliated with the NFL. You know what I mean? And can actually bring in artists like a Kendrick or, you know what I mean? Like, to come perform at the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about.
This doesn't make sense.
There's a difference there. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know why.
Just like being a rapper and just like, yo, I'm going back to the hood because it's a bust.
Yeah,
like bro, it doesn't make no sense.
Like if I'm
like, what are we doing?
If the person signed to a record label, someone record label is you just need to have a super candid conversation, and it's like, here's your two options: either you continue hanging with these certain people in the hood, and continue this, still shoot, still kill, and where will that end you? You will die and you will burn in hell. But option two is, here's a life where you're not doing that stuff. You can make X amount of money, live a good life, take care of your close friends, take care of your family, and you're good. And you can be famous.
The thing is, it also depends on the rapper, because like you have some people who are like, okay, they rap about, I guess, like a bit of like drugs or whatever, that. But a lot of these rappers that are the ones that are doing all the murders are talking about some hood stuff. They're talking about some hood stuff. They're out here like, I'm in the plug house, I'm out here making crack.
But yo,
blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, and like they're actually doing it. They're not cat rapping.
But yo, check this out now, right? Here's something like nobody really is checking.
Yeah.
And no one is really talking about, right? All these rappers that we're talking about and what they're doing, you know what I mean? They really don't want that problem. You know what I'm saying? In the terms of like, yo, they have privilege. They live in a country that gives them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That lifestyle. You know what I mean? What if you live in a country that's just all war? Like real war.
Yeah.
That's what
you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like yo, that's a, you know what I'm saying? That's a they haven't been in that situation, and I don't think you want that situation. I don't even think you want to even be close to that situation, like a World War I situation, or World War II even situation. You know what I mean? So what I'm talking about, like yo, like you can do anything and be what you want. Why you want to be popping guns and you know what I'm saying?
They don't.
But you don't want to be like. I would join the army and really like.
I don't know, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if I was born and raised in Chicago, Chicago, so a place where there's a lot of murders there.
Yeah.
And I became a rapper.
Murder City, yeah.
To move out my people and my family, and I make it, bro. I know damn well in my life I'm not gonna go back to the trenches. Bro, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to eat no goddamn ramen noodles and hot dogs anymore, bro. I want to eat some steak. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back. But I don't know why, bro. It's like, I don't know. Especially when you said, too, like, it is with the people they hang out with. Because even if you look at their music videos, you got a lot of these people wearing ski masks, driving ATVs, throwing up gang signs, blah blah boom, like bro.
But that's the thing though, right? Because like there's some people that where it's like you have to go to your group of friends and like, yo, where's your head at? If your head is still here, I gotta I'm dropping you. And if I'm that person, I gotta drop friends like that. And sometimes these people are salty, and then sometimes and I see people leave, and then they still get killed because the people like that you left behind, they get mad at you.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was about to say.
But I'm like, for me, you gotta move out your state. Move out the state.
They'll still come for you though.
Yo, these guys are so crazy.
They'll still come for you though.
How do you have money to
No, but I think that's a situation. You gotta be like maybe in a gang ties or you know what I mean.
I don't think if I left my friends, I don't think they're gonna come and like fly all the way from LA from Chicago to come kill me.
But it depends though, because like I said, right. A lot of these like rappers, they came from the trenches, right? Usually, when you're in the trenches, right, you don't have a choice. Like you have to sometimes gangbang to make it, make it out sometimes. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's fine. That's what I understand.
Right? So like once you make it,
what
even too, a lot of gang members say this. Once you join a gang, you can't come out. You're associated with them till you die. Right. So even if you move out to a whole different state and you make it. Remember, wherever you post on the internet, on Instagram, YouTube, there's going to be someone tapped in, no matter what.
But you know what?
So even if you try to run away, and remember, I was your friend, and you drop me, I'm probably still going to find a way to get you back. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's the truth. It's sad.
Instead of just being like, yo, I support you, I got you, and like take you out with them. Because there's times where it's like, yo, I'm gonna take my boy out with me. Like yo,
but
get out of here.
There's a lack of, you know what I mean, understanding. There's other lifestyle, better lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like the people you're describing in terms of the gang situation, right? They can't picture that. They don't understand that. They don't understand that world. You know what I mean? Because their environment, it's all about like people dying, people suffering, pain, misery. You know what I mean? They have not tasted the other side Whereas in like, yo, you can actually live a good life, have family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And build something for your next generation. They can't even like see what that means.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, right? So you know, I have to figure out how you fix that problem to even get them to that other, you know what I mean? To see that other lifestyle. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. Some of these like rappers you're talking about, they have been exposed to that.
Yeah.
You get money, you know what I mean? Money gives you resources. You know what I mean?
I'm not, but even before anyone comes after me, I'm just saying, I'm not saying majority of everyone from like, you know, the hood it's like that. There's of course different artists like that too. Like I'm not gonna lie, shout out to Nino Payne. You know, he was in the trenches and now he's talking about his experience that happened in the trenches, and he's also trying to inspire people and motivate them in his songs. So you know, I gotta try him out, right?
But I think that's the best way to help out.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
but
that's
it's still hard because a lot of these artists they still don't want to do that, you know? Because like even too like with music, right? There's different genres. You got pop, hip hop, rap, race, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what you'll call this genre, but like I guess like drill or like I don't know if you will call the genre hood, but like there's a type of genre for that. Like a lot of artists
it's like southern, it's like the South, right? Like
I guess like majority of people like from the South, like from like Atlanta or like Chicago, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's their style of music. So like, you know, it's like okay, like even to a lot of people, I don't know why, but a lot of people like to listen to music like that. They like that aggressive, dark kind of vibe, which I don't know, it's kind of scary to me personally. But it's like that's why a lot of people like listening to drill, because like drill is like it's so heavy, it's so aggressive, it's so like
not me, man. That's it
hurts my spirit,
it's
man.
scary.
It's
like,
scary.
Headaches.
It's scary, but a lot of people like it.
But it
like,
depends on what your vibration. You know what I mean? What kind of level of, you know what I mean?
It is
where you are.
That's
you know
true. That's true, right? But like a lot of these kids, right? They like listening to that. I don't know why, because like. Even I remember when I was in high school, there'd be so much kids in the hallways listening to music, right? And you just start hearing drill music. You start hearing glah glah glah, fuck it. I'm like, yo, like I don't know how you just wake up at 8 a.m. blasting drill music.
It's like it's usually it's like the music video you see with like them doing like ATVs.
There's like ATVs with ski masks, and then they start flexing like a block and this.
Yeah, and they're like doing wheelies and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just
like, I can't listen to
but
that,
you see, you know what I mean? Again, you know what I mean? Here comes the creativity. You know what I mean?
And I guess
you know what I mean? They're very creative, but it's in a dark way.
You know
what I mean? If you use that positively, you know what I'm saying? You can still make music even that much more positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the more and more you put the music on the negative side, you know,
it's gonna
like where's the end? Where do you plateau?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where do you flatline? You know what I mean?
And that's the problem though, because all of that's just the same, right? Like, you know what is interesting? Because I find it so. You look at like a lot of artists that come out of Compton.
Yeah.
Like you look at Kendrick, even what's her name? Dolce too. I think she came out of Compton, right?
Dolce?
Yeah, I think so. Or was it another artist on the same record label that came out of Compton?
I think so. Yeah.
What is it? Reason. Like there's so many artists.
There's
that
a
came out of
lot. Yeah,
Compton.
there is a lot though.
But they're strategic though, and they knew what they wanted. And then I think there's also people around them. Maybe people that signed them also like don't go back into that. Don't get me wrong, like you obviously see Kendrick go back and he film stuff there, whatever. But he's smart about
motivating them.
Yeah, it's more exactly that's what I'm saying.
The waves.
So like you separate that, right? And a lot of people like sometimes they don't want to do that because they feel like they're betraying their place. But you honestly have to do that sometimes.
Yeah, you have to do that
until you get to a point where you're so big, like that stuff can affect you. Because it don't matter whatever Kendrick did. I don't know Kendrick's history like that, but I'm sure at no point someone there's gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna go after Kendrick. Like, no way.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was from like that type of place, and I made it, I'm not gonna forget where I came from. I'm gonna go back and try to help them, motivate them. You know,
you can always
give stuff back to the kids.
Charity,
you know?
yeah. There's schools. There's always gonna be schools in that community.
That's what I'm saying.
They can always help out. You know,
improve it.
Gym. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like to help out people
that's why I like what Kendrick does.
You know what I mean? But like you know, but these artists is you know what I mean. They have to understand. When you become an artist, you know what I mean? It's almost like an actor or actress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, you have to play a certain character.
Yep.
And you just gotta know when to step out of that character and when to just manage that character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the difference between a business mindset, you know what I mean, and just like being just a
totally
nut. You know what I mean? You just go in there just like this is me and this when you reach that certain level, that level requires you, you know what I mean, to understand.
For sure. I
you know what I mean?
agree with that.
But a lot of people don't understand the game. They just want to be like, this is where I am, and they end up. This is where they go left.
Exactly. And that's a good point too, because like a lot of people, right? They just want to make music just to make music, right? People that are passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
And you have other people who are like, okay, I want to make music to get the bread, and yada, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like with a lot of people nowadays, right? They don't really understand and notice that like music is powerful. Music is a message.
Yeah.
You know, music it has like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it has a type of flow.
It's a frequency, man.
That's the word, frequency, right? As a frequency where like
yeah.
it can make you happy, it can make you sad,
Change
it
your
can make
mood.
you feel angry, right? And I feel like that's what a lot of these people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, let's say, for example, I draw a song, right?
Yeah.
Boom. I want a song where like, okay, it's gonna inspire you, it's gonna make you feel happy. Of course, like you might feel a deep meaning to it. I want you to understand that, right?
Yeah.
But then you have just people who are like, okay, I'm just make music, and whatever happens to you, happens to you. And
Music is so powerful.
sad.
It's the only thing you really can't shut off from entering.
Your
you know what I mean?
Your mind. It's
Entering
true.
the body and and getting into the soul. You know what I mean? You know they say like your eyes like the the window to the soul, right?
Yeah.
Music is almost just similar and powerful, but once you listen to music, you can't shut that off.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
And it affects, your brain waves.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, it can like put you in different type of mood.
Yeah.
It can uplift you. It can make you feel crashed. You know what I mean? It can inspire you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's very, very powerful. This is why music can never ever die. You know what I mean?
They can.
It's like a living energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's you put that. Music is almost like a vibration, you know what I mean? If you put vibration in the water, you can see the water waves. It changes the vibration, everything. It's a very powerful thing. So it goes beyond the physical, right? And I think that's a lot of thing, you know what I mean? Rappers, it's one thing to be a rapper and to write and stuff, but you gotta understand what music really is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they lack that too, you know what I mean?
They
And some of them are actually smart too. When you really listen to some, they can really break it down, you know what I mean?
True.
Like excess
Existential?
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can like on that level, you know what I'm saying?
And he's very talented,
you understand
too.
it spiritually.
Yeah.
Not the physical aspect of it, but that also the spiritual implication of
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? And I think these rappers need to,
And I think that's like for him too, like his like for the kind of music which you categorize him as like under like, I guess some people put him as mumble rap, right?
Yeah.
It was just part of that genre at the time. But then oddly enough feels like he was really breaking through more into like the mainstream because like even the stuff he was like talking about and rapping about, right, in his songs. It's just unfortunate for him, like he still fell victim to that same mindset. Because he's still got into a lot of fights and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's still pretty, like, aggressive or whatever. I remember saw in the video, like, him and, what was it, Migos, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, him getting into altercation with them, and it's like, damn, man, like, you're so talented.
Yeah.
And then, so then he ends up getting killed, and it's just like, shit, like, that's such
But
a
the
waste.
thing is, right, just like what you said too, right? Like, yeah, there's so much stuff happening to him while he's making the music, but just like what Layton and us were talking about, right? The frequency, right? Every song that he dropped, an album, is always something different. Like,
Yeah.
and even to what his character, right? Like, for example, the ex with the half black, half blonde hair, right?
Yeah.
That's like the aggressive ass. That was the one that always used to get into fights.
Yeah.
And he changed his hair to like a blue.
Yeah.
Which like, okay, that's like the kind of spiritual, motivational kind of, he wants to change his ways. And then, he goes to white, which is like, okay, now like he's trying to figure himself out.
Yeah.
So like it's like in a way it's like, yeah, music was like his way out, but like he also, it felt like music was like his vent, his therapy.
Yeah.
Which that's what I like too, because like with me, sometimes I feel like without music, I honestly can't function. Like I need music in my ear to like function.
Yeah, I know a lot of
day.
people can't function
'Cause,
without
like,
music.
Yeah.
I can't. I truly can.
Yeah.
And like music to me is honestly like therapy.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Yeah.
you can relate, and like the type of music you're listening to is like, damn, like it makes you look at the world and like appreciate different things in a way.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, the different taste of music comes in, right?
Yeah,
That's why, like,
no, exactly.
because like some people like the feeling it makes you have. So like, you know, that's where even like the first episode we talked about, right? It was like, you know, me and Lane probably like the more lyrical stuff because like we like the message that we hear.
Yeah.
But you might like something that's not as lyrical.
Yeah.
But the beat, the sound,
beats,
because it makes you feel a certain energy, right? It makes you feel hyped or makes you feel sad. So like it's so interesting doing that, right? Just how you come across.
No, for sure.
But then you can definitely tell though where it's like you see some people that they just do it for money. But then you do see people do it for artistry, right? And that's just how you connect with it.
And that's what I'm saying. If you really know music and you study music, you have to study. You know, you're not just listen to music, but you gotta study music from a spiritual, you know what I mean, standpoint,
especially
right? Because this is where we talk about how it makes you feel, right? Because you can't stop music from entering, you know what I'm saying, your dome, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of have some type of knowledge, spiritual knowledge about music, because you know what I mean, what you hear is one thing, but that's hitting, the words hitting in it, the way the like you talk about the beat and everything like that, you know what I mean. It affects like even if you listen to a Michael Jackson song, right? If you talk to the younger generation, they'd be like, "Yo, I don't want to listen to Michael Jackson." But if you hear it, it will put you in a mood to want to dance. It always want to uplift you.
I don't need to cut you off. But no, perfect example for what you're just talking about. What's that one song from Outkast? Where it was
Sorry,
like,
Jack?
No, it was like, hey,
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think that's
remember this perfect example. This is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Remember, right? Everyone thinking that song is happy, jolly, because the beat is like happy, jolly, right?
Oh, but the
if
lyrics,
you sit down and listen to the lyrics, even he said it in the song too. He's like, oh, they don't even want to listen to the lyrics; they just want to dance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't peeped out. Like when I first time I heard it, I listened to more. I'm like, okay, this song's happy and no. But then when I sat down, and I broke it down. I'm like, yo, this is deep. Like, yo, what? And I was like, that's with me. When I listen, like, just like what you said, right? With artists, right? You like how you break it down with the beat, the music, the lyrics, especially with fans, right? A lot of fans, they're gonna break that down. Like with me, I love to break that down. I love to break down the beats and listen to like, okay, this is like the BPM. This is the tone. You know, this tone it goes to a little high and it goes to a little down to the point where it's like, okay, this frequency makes you feel like a bit like chill. Okay, this frequency now, like, you know, it makes you feel a bit pumped up. And then the lyrics with the flow too is like, okay, you know, he's talking about this. Okay, this part it seems like he's trying to like show me like a perspective, like like a different character. Like, okay, this character now, like he's talking about what he's been through, and this character's talking about, you know, how it feels to not have anything. You know, like I like how it has like a different mesh and different thing, because like just like what you guys said, right? And like the first, I think it was like the first episode, second episode, right? You guys listen to like more like that old school like Biggie, Tupac, all that, right? Because like he's talking about freedom and talking about like all like the whole black community and everything like that, right? And with me, like I love listening to that too, like Michael Jackson, all that too, right? But like even new generation music too, I like listening to like there's always different stuff, like Nino Pay, like he raps about like the lyrical stuff, right? But in his songs too, it's always kind of like happy and jolly. So like even though like it kind of gives like a perspective of like different listeners. Like you have listeners who are like, okay, they like to listen to the beat, or one that listen to the lyrics, right? And that's what I like about a lot of these like new generation of artists sometimes too.
But I mean, like, yeah, you know, 100%, right? You know, but the problem is for me is I can't sit there and just go off the beat.
No, for
you
sure.
Know what I mean? The music gotta have a certain aura about it. You know what I mean? Like, and the message gotta support that energy.
No, exactly. I totally agree with that.
And it gotta be something that just feel like I'm lifting up. You know what I mean? But rather than crashing down. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I like listening to Tyler a lot, because I'm not gonna lie, Tyler's beats with his flows and lyricism. Oh my god, I can speak. Lyricism. And look, even sometimes makes you feel like you're floating. I'm not gonna lie. Like, See You Again, I know that's a classic, like a basic song. But See You Again, I'm not gonna lie, that song makes you feel like, okay, like, whoa, like you just close your eyes, you just are like.
Well, that's the perfect example, like perfect, like the whole package, right, in the song. Same even like sometimes even with Drake too, like, because his production is phenomenal, and then when he's rapping, like he's actually rapping, right? So it's like, damn, like this is a whole package that really comes together. So you feel a certain type of way. That's like the thing for me and J. Cole, right? Like he has the lyricism and then also the beats.
Beat, exactly, yeah.
So when you have those things combined, it's like this whole package. Because like, yeah, I can't have one without the other. Someone can have a garbage beat, but then they're very lyrically sound. I'm like, like it's a good message.
That's what I feel nowadays too. Cause I'm not gonna lie, like for some artists that I listen to, I'm like, the beat is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the beat is like, yo, who produced this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to the lyrics and I'm like, it's trash.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like come on.
And you know what it is actually? Because I think like Kendrick, for example, for me, not that his beats are trash, not bad, but just like
it's not like how it was back then. Like
but exactly. Like lyrically is crazy, but then it's also like the beat at the same time is not like for me where I'm like, this is like crazy. Some people it is, but like for me it isn't, right? I think that's some people where they feel about with like Kendrick, and it's the opposite for Drake, where it's like Drake's like the beat and the sound is crazy, but then somebody's just saying or he's singing, so you're like, it's not there for me, right? But it's all dependent on your taste.
Yeah. That's why I feel like that's what's with like a lot of people for Cardi, because like people be like, okay, the beat's not it, or like the lyrical rhythm is not it too, right? So that's why I feel like it's hard for like a lot of people to get into like new music like that, right? Because it's like the beat's not there sometimes, the lyrical rhythm's not there like that. Sometimes it doesn't fit together.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. The preset, too much auto-tune. You know, it's always something with music, right?
And that's what turned me off. This auto-tuning stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, music.
I don't. You know what I mean? When I'm looking at an artist, you know what I mean? I'm looking at an artist like and the talent. You know,
for sure.
Like vocal, right? The ability to mix that with the message, the wording of the song, right? And how you bring that and make it one melody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you talk about like, you know what I mean, like the bass and the auto tuning, like to me, you know what I mean?
I mean that's true.
There's also this weird thing now
just
too.
not
Artists
for
do where it's like they like low. Was like I don't know if they like pitch down the voice to sound like
right.
Voice.
Yeah,
that's
like,
not a talent. That's not a talent.
It kind of is though.
That's not a talent.
It is. Listen, the reason why I say it is because look, I understand where you're coming from because you're not used to that, right? Because like back then, you know.
Yeah, but that's not.
No, let me speak.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, right? Because back then music, like they had that a bit. Because like even too, I understand what you're saying, right? You can't get to new music now because there's too much auto-tune, right? But back then they still had auto-tune. It just wasn't as much or wasn't that noticeable, right? But then with I guess like now this generation is like everything is changing, everything is becoming evolved, right?
Yeah.
Perfect example, Yachty. What was that one song again? I think it was called Poland.
Yeah.
Right? At first, no one really liked the song because like, what is this? Like, there's so much auto-tune.
Yeah.
And then he's using he like vocal chops the beat and his voice, and he adds like a stuttering effect. And people are like, yo, what is this? Like, yo, this is not it, right? But then it's like sometimes too, you have to keep listening to it and repeating it to the point where like it kind of grows on you, right?
That's the problem.
Which is hard. It is hard. No, it is hard.
But it is hard.
It is hard. Wait, but I'm not finished too. It is hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time too, with a lot of these different songs, I'm not gonna lie. I have to sometimes give them credit because there's different stuff they're doing, which is like you don't see that in a song. Because like sometimes with what they'll do is they'll have a vocal and they'll have a vocal layer. So it makes it sound even, it makes it sound better. Then sometimes they'll have like a little Detroit effect. Especially to what you're just talking about, like how like in like some songs like the vocals will be low and like kind of like have like reverb and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In a way, it throws you off, but that's the new wave. Because even too, like a lot of songs and a lot of different people, like for example, going back to Tyler the Creator, sometimes he will have his main vocals and then he'll have like a background vocals where he'll use for harmony or he'll use it for delay or stuff like that, right? And then you have some other artists like Cardi, for example, he'll use his background layers and he'll lower it down and put Detroit on it, so it gives it like that little hunt and that little like different frequency and like carry. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you because even like the Poland song, I liked it like first off the bat.
Really?
Because it was creatively done.
It was creative, but I didn't like it.
That's my thing. I don't have a problem with it. Like I think artists like Isaiah Falls, right? Like the song.
Good example.
Yeah. So like with the song Florida Baby, like that
was a beautiful song, but it was different. It was
that's what I'm saying. Like that was used well. I just don't like that when it's just overdone too much. Because there's some songs I listen to, I'm like, man, I actually wish I can hear the artist's like actual voice.
Yeah, because there's too much auto-tune.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I perfectly
agree.
I perfectly
This
agree
would have
with
been better if like they didn't do the reverb thing on this.
Yeah.
Like, I actually want to hear the song because it's actually really good. So the songs where it's like the song would have been to me perfect if it was the actual voice and it didn't do this.
I agree with that. No,
But
I
then,
do.
But then, because since it's the new trend now, some people just overuse it too much.
Yeah,
I agree.
And this is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You gotta understand the difference between talent and just like mechanic. You know what I mean? Helping different tools to help you. You know what I mean? Because if you really think about it, like, you know what I mean? Maybe it would work for somebody like Tory Lanez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, not everybody's Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
So you got to come with something different. Maybe it would help with T-Pain and the way he sing. You know what I mean? Because maybe his voice is not really that strong pitch.
Yeah.
It has a more, you know what I mean, a back pitch to it. So maybe the auto-tune help him, you know what I'm saying? But everybody just jump on it now and call it this new wave.
Yeah.
When certain people is actually helping them.
I mean,
because,
that's true,
you know what I mean, to balance out.
That's true.
You know?
I agree with that, but at the same
And that's the problem.
I agree with that. No, I definitely do
They're
agree.
overdoing it.
I definitely do agree with that because, like with this whole new generation now, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of people that use the same presets that other artists do.
Yeah.
Right. But then like at the same time, what you just said too, like some artists might have to use that preset because their voice might be too low or their voice might be too high, etc., right? But then in a way too, it's kind of a win-win-ish in a way, but not really. Because, like, yeah, you have this preset. Yeah, you made this type of way for yourself, right? But in a way, too, you're inspiring people to kind of use that wave, which then it's like, okay, there's this new wave now. Where did that, originally come from?
Right.
It's gonna come. There are people like, we're gonna look it up now, and then, oh, boom, it came from you. Okay, let me tap into your music now, because you're the one that made that wave.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying though. It's copy and paste a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm not
So
gonna lie.
very copy-
I'm not
copy
gonna lie. Because a lot of underground
Copy
rappers now, they're using high pitched voice like Cardi, and like, you know, like I'm not gonna lie, like people kind of like have the same flow like Nesband, Osama San, Pretty Fun. It's kind of like the same thing, right? Because that's the underground wave now.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people are gonna use it just to make it a bit. Because even to like, yeah, like once you first start, you're not gonna have your own style, right? Because you're still trying to figure out your show, like tipping your toes in the water, right?
Yeah.
Till you really find your own sound, right? So I feel like what a lot of artists now what they're doing now is like they're tipping their toes, they're trying to copy the same thing till they truly make their own sound, and then they're going to evolve to making their actual own sound, their own genre.
Right.
That's what I feel like what's happening right now.
But here's another thing, right? Because that industry is very big, the rap industry and R. But why is it that, you know what I mean, like artists over their career, at the end of the career, if they've done amazing, got hits, platinum, all this multi-platinum, you know what I mean, all these different accolades, right?
Yeah.
Why do they, if you're gonna induct them, why do you have to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Why don't they have like just one, you know what I mean? Because to me, it established a foundation, you know, in the rap. Why you have to go into a different, you know what I mean,
Like
genre to be inducted, you know what I mean? Do you
this-
guys agree with that, or you guys?
I don't agree with that. The reason why I say I don't agree with that is because, mind you, right, music each day is always changing and evolving, and there's always going to be a different genre that's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Like back then, what was the biggest genres? Rap, R&B, pop,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that now, right?
Yeah.
And now, with this generation now, what? Pop is still doing good. Pop is still doing amazing, but then now you have K-pop, now country's destroying. That's why you have a lot of artists, these black artists now coming out making country, especially with Rihanna, you know. She made a whole country Beyonce, she made a whole country album, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, as you being an artist, don't get me wrong, you could stick to the same genre, the same flow, the same thing that you usually did, but at the same time, it's gonna be repetitive and it's gonna be boring. Because let's be honest, like for example, you were an artist, right? And then you were making music from like 2010 and you were making pop music, and then, you know, we're in 2025 now and you're still making pop music, it's gonna be like, okay, like come on, like change it a bit now, like just being repetitive, right? Like I don't want to hear, like, it's the same song, different lyrics, same song, different flow. It's like you gotta change it up, right? And especially too, just like I said before, music is evolving, so you kind of have to, if you want to keep blowing up and keep, you know, striving, you kind of have to like try to adapt to the new wave. That's why we're like, for example, with the whole rock star thing, you know, of course, rock and roll, and like grunge and metal is not as big as like back then, where like you have like Nirvana, Deftones, Slipknot, AC/DC, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But rock is still like rock will never die. Same thing like country. Country will never die.
Yeah.
Right? Rock is still gonna happen, right? Which I feel like that's what a lot of artists are trying to do now. Like some genres that are dying, they're trying to revive it back. That's why I feel like, you know, back then, you know, people didn't like country, right? That's why I feel like a lot of artists now are trying to get into country to like revive it back and make like new listener get into country. Same thing with rock, you know, is dying now. A lot of people want to get back into rock now, so it builds up. But then they're also going to try and make a different genre. Like
here's where I would like kind of push back on that. Is like, if it's dying, that's because maybe there's no talent. Because you can't kill talent. Talent doesn't die, you know. I should be because, you know what I mean. I shouldn't say these guys don't have talent, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if you're saying like, you know what I mean, you have to now like go back and say, okay, in the 90s and the 80s and you know, you know what I mean. Rather than, okay, we keep inventing different style and different sounds and different evolved music. You know, we're not saying that anymore. We're saying, okay, now we're at the end of the cycle. Now we got to go back and see, you know what I mean, in the past to bring back.
But even when they're trying to bring back the past with the same, like the cycle, because I know you're saying like you don't want to keep repeating the same cycle and going back, right? But
no, it's like, good to listen to it, but I mean, to me, it's like, is it dead now? Like, you know, like
I want to say
it just seems to evolve.
It's like I'm saying it evolves, right? Like I'm not saying like you can't go back and like the old music still here. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still listening to Michael Jackson. He's a banger. You know what I'm saying? I'm still listening to Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah, that could never.
That will never die, right? But it's like some artists or like even to like for example, like let's say for example like rock, right? Nirvana is beautiful. They're amazing, right? But recipe to Kurt Cobain, he's gone. There's not you can't replace and also try to make that same sound that our artist did.
Build upon it.
The same. Yeah. No one will top the sound that Kurt Cobain had, right?
Yeah.
So what you're gonna do? You're gonna try to evolve and try to make a kind of like different version like that, right? Yeah. Like back to rock and roll, right? Rock and roll's kind of dead now, but then going to Cardi now, he's kind of making like rock, like rap and like hip hop / with rock and roll, but he's making his own kind of way to it. Yeah. That's what I music was kind of all about, was like kind of like rock and roll and rap and hip hop all into one. Yeah. So you know, just kind of keep evolving, like kind of like make different genres. Because if you don't make new different genres, it's like, all right, slowly the same genres that we have right now are gonna die. Like if we're not making kind of like a different kind of flow of like pop, mainly like the main pop is gonna die. Like
that's exactly
Katy Perry, like no one listens to Katy Perry that much. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Swift, people still listen to her, but not as much as before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's slowly dying. Same thing with Bruno Mars. Now people are not gonna like the new version of Bruno Mars. Like, you know, the old school Bruno Mars, not the the new one he's making with the whole Sexy Red song, right? So it's slowly dying, but you kind of have to like change the flow a bit and make kind of a new genre to it a bit, if that makes sense.
No, I know this point, but you know, like you have to eventually keep evolving the sound, or else you get left behind, right? Because then eventually someone does something new and it's catchy and it moves on. Yeah, and then that's why the genre ends up like kind of being the past, right? Because there's no new sound. Like, you know, when hip hop overtook rock, there's nothing rock really was able to do to like kind of like pull people back in, or I was like, this is still the number one genre. Started losing its grasp, which is pop and R&B, and that's why even now too, like, you know, you have artists like Sabrina Carpenter, where it's like she kind of does make Taylor Swift kind of music, but then she mixes pop with country. Exactly. And then that's where it's like now people are kind of driving that forward. But yeah, you know, that's kind of a thing there. But,
so do you think like to answer the question, do you think like it's because it's almost like you have the Grammys and you have the Oscars, you know? Yeah. So you have the Rock and Roll, you know, Hall of Fame and stuff like that. Do you think rappers should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame type thing, or you think they should have their own separate, like
it's their own separate, like it's their own separate, like they wouldn't be like for example,
because right now we can't create, you know what I mean? If we're to say okay, Biggie and Tupac, You know, they haven't inducted anything. We say they're the greatest. You know what I mean? But if you go into rock and roll, you know what I mean? There's a few names you can be like, you know, inducted. You know what I mean? So it's almost like there's a history there. You can say, okay, they helped in that time to build. You know what I mean? Build that the music.
Yeah, and
in rap now, it's almost like there's, you know what I mean? It's like free for all. It's right. You know what I mean? There's no structure.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, kind of what we were kind of trying to say.
Could that
like,
affect it too?
Kind of what I think what you're trying to say is like back then, like with whole like rap and all that, right? Like you have like the top big fives, right? You know, Biggie, Tupac, Eminem, all that, right?
Yeah.
You can't put like the new people into that type of like leaderboard because they won't compete. Like, let's for example, if you're
but I'm saying like use them as the faces, so they're inducted now. And
you're trying to say
okay, in their time, in their time they made, you know, all these new faces what they are right now, right? But it's almost like they're, you know what I mean? They're just named. You know what I mean? And then you can decide if they're great or not, right? There's no actually, there's no actual like stability to say, okay, yo, they're in the vote. Yo, these guys were the best back then. You can't dispute it or contest it. You know what I mean? They made it to the, you know what I mean? There's like a rap Hall of Fame type of thing they made it into. You know what I mean? So that established that. So for the new generation coming in now, you know what I mean? There's like a foundation to lay it out. There isn't. So now I can go back and be like, yo, Tupac is not the best of all time. Biggie may not be the best of all. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
but there's no foundation.
There's not. But at the same time too, it's just everyone's opinion. Because for example, right? You might be like, oh, yo, Tupac was the best back then, right? I might be like, man, what you're talking about? Wu-Tang was the best, you know? And then Jovan might be like, nah, Wu-Tang was not the best. You know, DMX was. You know, it's everyone's opinion, just how everyone just takes it, right?
Right, but if you see what I'm saying? But if there was like a foundation now where it's like he's a Mount Rushmore, you know what I mean? He got inducted. You can't question that.
I think it's just cultural impact.
It's culture,
right? So
I feel like it's cultural impact. I feel like it's honestly just cultural impact, and I guess just like stats. I guess like stats and like I guess like who's on the billboards. I guess if that makes sense, right? Like who's at the billboards top 100s, right? Because like let's just have like okay, like oh, you might not think Kendrick is the best, right? But then point proven, if we go to the billboards, you know his music and all of this, he's top 5. If you don't think he is, a lot of people is because a lot of people think he is because you know there's point proven right there. He's on the top 5 billboards, you know. So I guess that's kind of like how you can kind of like pinpoint.
But no, it's good. That's good.
I think that's it. I think we've been talking about a lot. We got to 1 hour, so thank you everyone that came by. Truly means a lot. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the post notifications, comment your best part, and also please give us suggestions too. You know, if there is any facts that we missed, any stuff that we kind of missed out, please leave it in the comments, and also give us, you know, suggestions of new videos if you guys want to see, new topics. You know, if you guys want to talk about crimes, true stories, this and that, let us know in the comments what you guys want to see. We're in that. This is Family Function, and we're out. Peace.